Hey, everyone. I'm so sorry I procrastinated for so long on this video. I swear it won't happen again. I know some of you guys have been waiting for this video for a while, so I thank you for your patience. Anyways, today, we're finally talking about the people in the elevator. Thankfully, there will be less yap from my end, because the mechanics are right there. There will be a lot of text displayed, so you can pause to read the stats if you need to. Without further delay, let's get on to our protagonist and his sister. Goob and Scraps were obvious choices for starters, since they already come in a pair. They have an arts and crafts motif and hang around in Toy House Playground. Goob is the cheerful one who cares very much for the people around him. He gets worried about his friends very easily. He also likes to put on sock puppet shows and craft little things with his sister. He has normal arms since he's a common now. He's a bit clumsy, so he accidentally gets his smock caught on things. Thankfully, he doesn't mind patching it up. Scraps is confident and bold. She likes to be a leader, though she often comes across as bossy. Because of this, she can be overprotective at times, though. She's the artist of the duo, and she now has a CMYK color palette. She does have anger issues, but not as much as Shrimpo. Maybe that's because she's the older sister. Here are their abilities. Next up is Glisten. He's a wannabe pop star in this AU, and carries around his trusty microphone. He's an attention hog, and he loves the spotlight, thus taking on the role of a distractor. He originally came from a search party himself, being the only survivor, but he didn't really notice the others being twisted until he came back. He's kind of stupid, but we love him. Flutter is the ambassador of kindness, and she uses her body language to communicate, since she's mute. This fact stresses her out a bit, because despite trying to help, she can't communicate her motives, so she's kind of difficult to understand. Despite this, she tries to help to the best of her abilities. Finally, Shrimpo. You already know his personality, but what you don't know is that he was aware of the first few stages of the infection. Dandy pretended not to know, but Shrimpo saw right through him. Dandy convinced him to keep his mouth shut, as he did Astro. But Shrimpo, unlike Astro, isn't a fucking pushover. Thus, Shrimpo eventually snitched to a few other tunes, leading to him getting attacked by Dandy. He's scarred, running off adrenaline and rage alone. He's far too used to brushing off wounds, but this one seemed to stick with him, and it remains one of Shrimpo's true fears to this day, despite what he says against it. Also, he's a trans man in this Go Ham, and that's all 5 of the starter cast. 2 don't make it to the surface, but that's a story for another time. But while we lose survivors, there are others scattered around Ariel Avenue, all searching by themselves. That's right. Somehow, there's only 2 elevators in this AU, and they're both connected to the same floors, so everyone is in the same search. So now, we can encounter other survivors. For example, on floor 6, Scraps stumbles upon Teagan in the Astral Diner, who came down there looking for Toodles and Roger. She knows Roger's already infected, but she had a rude awakening to Toodles' twisted form. She's melancholic and clearly grieving over her lost family, though she tries to keep a professional persona when she misses her husband and daughter dearly. She also originally had a hat, but she lost it after being attacked by Roger. Luckily, she didn't sustain any infectious wounds. She offers to have the others patched up at her manor, but the road there is incredibly tough, especially with Scraps being blinded by Toodles. Also, the fact she's as strong as someone with a frying pan with her bare fists is scary. 2 floors later, they come across Sprout, who's armed with a frying pan, looking for Cosmo. He's oblivious to the fact he was the twisted they encountered the previous floor because Cosmo had gone down just after Sprout did. And since Boxton was already a rude awakening for Goob, no one tells him, so he stays oblivious until he finds him another 2 floors later. He's way more paranoid than Scraps, often checking on the tunes and keeping an eye on them so they don't get hurt, even when they don't need it. He also has incredible separation anxiety. He tries to hide with a smile, but he's slowly losing his mind. His origins will be explained in the next video that you guys want so much, the old main video. And finally, when they reached Teagan's mansion in Melodyland. It seemed to be boarded up, so they had to enter through the back entrance. Only the staff and the residents of the mansion are aware of, and also apparently Boxton, because he's fucking back somehow, and so he attacks the group again, and they're probably cooked, but WHO saves them if not the mentally ill maid. Tisha is a terrible scaredy cat, and one of the maids working at the manor, and the only one, since the others went out and got twisted due to the infection. She locked herself in the manor and boarded it up, idea inspired by at L3MONS3Z She's weak, but incredibly agile with attacks, so they build up eventually. Despite her cowardice, she looks up to Teagan and stayed alive to wait for her. She also makes some mean blueberry pie, which the gang get to have while they rest in Teagan's place, because we love some calm before the shitstorm that will happen. I don't know what to put here. Lala Layla.